Hi, Charlie. So my question was, do you think that it's okay for a government to send someone to a jail for the rest of their lives without charging or convicting them of a crime?
Well, it depends if they're an American citizen.
So no, pursuant to the language of the Constitution, it does not depend on if they're an American
Well, so there's
citizen.
three ways to deport somebody in America. What are those three ways?
I know Are you talking about under the Alien Enemies
Well,
Act?
there's Alien Enemies Act, expedited release, or traditional discharging with due process. So which one did Kilmar Abrego Garcia fall under, and why?
Well, I'm just asking, just for the first question, do you think it's okay for a government to send someone for a jail to the rest of their lives?
It depends who the someone is, right? So if the someone is a foreign illegal MS-13 gang member from an occupying force sent by a foreign government, then so
that's
be it.
not true, Charlie.
In fact, actually, let's look at his tattoos. What do his tattoos say? What do you think?
One
that
second,
looks
one
like
second.
MS-13, doesn't it?
Those,
Marijuana, smiley
Okay.
face,
So-
1-3.
so those.
Not to
MS
mention, actually, I have the documents here because I figured that this was going to come up. In fact, I knew
Okay.
this was going to come up.
Yeah.
You see how angry the left gets about illegal MS-13 gang members? If only they fought for American citizens that hard. If only they fought for Americans that hard. In fact, I have all the stats here. In 2019, he petitioned to the court that he cannot be sent back to El Salvador because another gang might hurt him.
And was he granted the withholding of removal order that
However,
prevented
what
him
the
from
court
being...
said is that you could be deported at any time for any reason. You could be scooped up without due process. You know the court said this? The only country you're not allowed to be sent back to, ironically, was El Salvador. Now, so hilariously...
And that's what
hilariously,
the government did.
1 second. That was under the traditional deportation, not under the AEA, the Alien Enemies Act. Hilariously, if we would have sent him to the Congo or sent him to Gitmo, there's nothing that ever would have been the issue.
But that's not
let's
what you
talk
did.
let's talk about the specifics of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He's
could-
a wife-beating MS-13 member that was documented in multiple instances of wearing MS-13 gang paraphernalia
the fact of the
and
matter-
has MS-13 tattoos and now is
Charlie.
back. Let's just be clear. He's back in the country he was raised in.
Ma-
Is he a U.S. passport
Charlie,
holder?
Charlie, this has been litigated by the Maryland District Court, the Fourth Circuit, and just real quick, let me finish with this. If you believe him to be an MS-13 member, I agree with all of you guys. If there's someone that's an MS-13 member that's dangerous and violent, get them to a hearing, which is what
Well,
our
they
Constitution
did.
requires, and have the judge decide on it.
They did, but
the
that's
judge
the
is who
point.
has final
The-
say
the
in
ju-
that.
the judge
so
said-
why are
the-
you
The judge said,
autocratically...
you got your facts wrong. The judge said
No.
he could be deported at any time without any more due process. The only country you can't be sent back to is El Salvador. So I will grant you.
But that's-
But
okay.
maybe we should not have sent him to that specific country. However, though, that's the country he's from.
But okay, so regardless of, I
but-
didn't even bring up the Garcia case
but
initially.
obviously you're heavily implying
I'm talking.
it.
There's 300 people in which the data says 75% of them have no U.S. criminal records, and yet they were still.
Oh, they should all go home.
Okay.
If you are an illegal alien in America, you should be sent back to your country of origin. Every single one of them should be deported back to their country.
with the proper
period.
due process that the
It
14th
depends.
Amendment requires,
It depends. It depends.
How
Are
is it
they,
de-
if Alien Enemies Act,
Okay.
expedited? So you got to tell me now, because you came up here with a contention.
Yeah.
What is the expedited removal process? Because the Supreme Court in 2019 ruled on what is called expedited removal. Do you know about this?
The Supreme Court just ruled 9-0.
No, they didn't.
that
They put a stay on the Alien Enemies Act. In June, they will author whether or not it's still constitutional.
Okay.
The Alien Enemies Act has been around since 1798. It was used 3 times prior. However, to the expedited release, the Supreme Court said, you do not need to give due process to an illegal alien that is within 100 miles of the southern border or has been here less than 14 days. The Supreme Court said that. You do not have to give due process.
Okay.
So therefore...
First of all, that wasn't Abrego Garcia, and that wasn't many
No,
people.
However, yes, so he fell under the Alien Enemies Act. For the other individuals, they can and will get due process until the court rules differently.
Okay, so then, question on the Alien Removals Act. It's technically supposed to be a wartime act, but the justification is that Tren de Aragua has infiltrated the Venezuelan government to make
It's
it...
not an accusation. It's by their own admission and by
Okay.
intelligence agencies
So
outside of our own country that have said this.
So 4 days ago, the U.S. intelligence assessment found no coordination between TDA and Venezuelan government. That was drawing from all of our U.S. 18 intelligence agencies. So if that's not true, that TDA is not in coordination with the Venezuelan
Well,
government...
this case was MS-13. But again, so there's other...
I'm talking about anybody that was deported without a hearing, which is what Supreme Court precedent,
But
all the way
again,
back to
these-
1903,
You're
says that
misrepresenting it. Garcia did have years of hearings. The judge scheduled him for deportation.
In which he
the
showed
judge warned him. He said, at any time, Mr. Garcia, you could be scooped up in the middle of the night. You should read the charging documents from the court. The judge said, at any time, you could be scooped up. And he said, I'm going to stay here anyway. The judge warned him, you are not safe to stay here.
Well, okay, but back to this, back to the 300 people that did not have due process that were deported under the Alien Enemies Act. If it's not true that the TDA is in coordination with the Venezuelan government, then why is that still happening?
Again, I challenge that information
4 days
significantly.
ago, U.S.
Okay,
intelligence
I'll take a look
report
at that,
from
and if
18.
so, I'll reconsider my position.
If you're a homeowner, you need to listen to this. In today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles, and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee with your county, and just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they take out loans using your equity or even sell your property, and you won't even know it's happened until you get a collection or a foreclosure notice. So when's the last time you checked on your home's title? If your answer is never, you need to do something about it right now, and that's why I've partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code Kirk at HometitleLock.com, and you'll get free title history and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. So check it out right now. I trust Home Title Lock, and so many of my friends do today. So go to HometitleLock.com, use promo code Kirk. That is HometitleLock.com, promo code Kirk.
But and then back to the initial question. So you do think it's okay for, in some cases, for the government to send people to a prison, not just deport them back to their country, for the rest of their lives with no due process?
But again, we didn't send them back to a prison. We sent them to El Salvador, and El Salvador put them in a prison.
Which would make us.
We don't control the government of El Salvador.
And if they put them in a prison if they put them in a prison without any process,
decision.
and we sold them to that prison, are we
didn't
not
sell
complicit
them.
in that?
Well, hold on. Let's time out. Let's just make sure we get our morals straight. How did these people end up in our country? They broke
Illegally.
into our home.
Illegally.
If you break into our home, we're going to discharge you.
And this is
you
good.
break into America, don't play the victim if you're sent back to your country of
And
origin.
this is where-
You did not come here with permission. You did not come here with warrant.
Yeah.
You did not come here with invitation. You came here and broke in. You are a line cutter. Not you, but they are a line cutter. You actually waited nicely in line, of which I wish the illegals would do. And
So-
they should not all of a sudden act as if they're a victim. You come into America illegally, you're going to win certain prizes, one of which, if you are part of an enemy gang,
But
that
that
at the time...
That has nothing to do with what I asked you. I'm just
No,
saying.
it's actually everything to do with the action. I'm saying...
I agree with you that if they're
As a
illegal,
standard
they can
rule-
be subject to deportation proceedings, which in 1903, this is precedent that goes all the way back in the Supreme Court, and they said
not
that
with expedited release or the Alien Enemies
But
Act.
if
That's
that's-
what was used, though.
our own intelligence agencies are saying now that TDA has no coordination.
And what was my answer to that? I had not seen that, and
Okay.
I'll look at it. If so, I'll reconsider my position. So
And-
we're going to keep on relitigating that.
Okay.
So at the time, that was considered to be like operationally true. And again, I will take a look at that, and if it's true, I'll reconsider my position. Can I say it again?
Yes, but then just going to the most recent 9-0 Supreme Court case, they said that.
They state it. They did not say that. They
Hold
put a
hold
pause on
I'm
it
not,
to
I
reconsider.
haven't said what I thought they said yet. I'm saying that towards the end, they said that to remove anybody, they have to have an opportunity to be heard and notice of hearing. That's what.
Not for expedited release. Not if you're within 14 days or 100 miles of the southern border.
But
So-
there was. Are you claiming that everybody that was?
No, I'm
In
not.
that
I'm
300?
saying those 300 were under the Alien Enemies Act. So again, we're going to keep on going in circles. At the time, that was before the Supreme Court ruled.
Okay, so just
Correct?
to get it clear,
You agree with that?
You
I mean-
you believe that the executive branch can put an allegation on somebody and then, without proving things to any third party, deport you to a foreign prison for the rest of your life.
If you're an illegal alien
how
and you
would,
are part of...
how would you prove you're
First
not
of
an illegal
all,
alien?
this was the most documented deportation effort ever. We know who these people were. We knew their names.
Yeah, because they're all
Many
about
of
to
them
be held
prior
in
had
criminal
court dates.
contempt by the people that uphold the
Many
law
of them
in
were
this
already
country.
many of them were already convicted of crimes, including Abrego
75% of them were not convicted of crimes.
Again,
not
but
300.
they
that
already
were.
had affiliation. So if you're asking me, do I think it's okay for
According to who,
Are you
though?
asking me, is it okay for the US government to scoop up illegal aliens and send them home? Yes. Next question.
Okay.
Yes.
But can you prove that they're? How do you prove you're not illegal?
Show me your passport. What's your name?
A lot of
Oh,
the people's
you're
that,
not in the
okay,
system.
So people
Go
that
home.
Were, people that were detained
You're
in
not in
Chicago,
the system.
people
Go home.
detained in Chicago, U.S. citizens that have been detained because of this.
Were they sent back to El Salvador?
No, but they were held
Okay,
in prison
so-
for 2 days based on immigration grounds,
Okay,
and they're
and
U.S.
then-
citizens.
okay, then
It's because y'all aren't
what's the
respecting
issue?
due process.
No,
All I'm
again,
saying
we're
is,
continually going in circles
Okay.
on this. But I will say for the 14th time, if you are an illegal alien in America, don't be shocked if you get swept up and deported back to your country of origin.
Yeah.
Biden's presidency is over. A new presidency is here.
Well, I'll just say that's authoritarian rhetoric, in my opinion, and anybody waving an American flag supporting that does not support
in fact,
the core
it's the
values of
opposite.
our country.
Do you know what it is? It is patriotism to say
Absolutely
American citizens come before foreign gang members.
It's spitting and
Not
chewing
hard
out the
to
Constitution,
understand.
and that's why every single court in this land, the Supreme Court, the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, the Maryland Court, Judge Boasberg, is holding the government that you support in contempt for violating
Well,
the
they
Constitution.
actually have not held them in contempt.
They're starting to start
Well,
those
they
proceedings,
haven't. So
Charlie.
you have
That's
to
a
be,
technicality.
They have not held them in contempt.
They're starting those processes.
But disagreement between the branches is nothing new. It is normal.
It's violation of
hold
the
on.
Supreme Court
So,
orders.
Joe Biden violated the Supreme Court.
Cool. I'm
no,
not talking
hold on.
about
No. When it came to the student loan cancellation thing, should he have done that? No. And they're not actually ignoring the Supreme Court. They're not. There's a hold on the Alien Enemies Act. We will see what the Supreme Court decides this summer. Again, it is one of 3 legal ways to remove people from the United States of America as per our courts have decided.